What's good, savages? Welcome to another episode of This Savage Life. Before we get started, I have a few new subscribers this week, so thank you for subscribing to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so yet, check out the channel SVG TV. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. So every week I sit here on the microphone and I do these solo episodes every week. The number one reason why I do these is because I really want to get better at this. Communicating on the microphone, on the camera. I'm not a real big fan of doing these alone. It forces me to put myself in uncomfortable situations just to sit here and think over my thoughts. One of the things, though, that I use this for is every time I finish a recording, I listen to it. So I listen to myself. I try to edit out all the silence, the long pauses, because it can get, sometimes I have to stop and think. And it's not always like, oh man, I just want to make sure that I think and say the right things, like really what I believe or whatever the case may be or the reason. So when I'm editing, I'm forced to listen to the whole recording. Now, it forces me to do something. I mean, if you've ever recorded yourself like this and you have to listen to yourself, it's not fun. But it's an exercise that you could use to be introspective about yourself, meaning it gives you an opportunity to look within and to go, oh, I could do this better. Oh, I shouldn't, when I listen to myself, I go, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit more enthusiastic maybe on the microphone or a little bit more lively. Sometimes the subjects that I talk about are stuff that I really have to think. And sometimes when I get into that thinking mode, I get kind of like soft spoken and I'm just trying to find the right words to describe my thoughts. And sometimes that makes for very boring videos like this, especially someone watching this on YouTube and you're like, man, this guy is boring. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about the last few episodes that I've recorded is that I'm like, man, like, I don't want to listen to myself. This is boring. And if I don't want to listen to myself, then maybe most people don't want to listen to myself. So I'm just trying to improve. And so today I was on my way home from dropping off my son to his baseball practices. He does every Saturday. He does this indoor training during winter. And on Saturday morning, it's early, it's 9 o'clock. So I drive him there for 9 o'clock. And on my way home, I just kind of go through my thoughts. And I'm like, I know that this is my time to record. Like, I drop him off, I come home, I have a window of about an hour where I could sit down in front of the microphone, record, and then go back to my responsibilities. So, but sometimes, this morning I'm coming back home, I have, on my drive home, I'm thinking through like, oh, what can I talk about today? What can, where do I want this conversation to go? All those thoughts. And then I got home and sometimes you got to sacrifice certain things and my family responsibilities. Something happened, nothing big, just there was stuff that needed to be done around the house that needed to be taken care of. And so one thing led to another and I was left with very little time before I had to go back and get my son from his baseball training. So the thought popped into my head. I said, oh, well, maybe I won't record this morning and maybe I'll just put it off. Maybe I'll find some time tomorrow. And as I'm washing the dishes, I'm thinking this over. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to go through my thoughts. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, all right, maybe I won't have enough time today. And like, I think it's pretty tight for time. I have to finish this, do this. And in my head, I was trying to talk myself out of doing this because this, what I'm doing right here, is hard for me. It's hard for me to sit here and put myself out there. But I believe that part of my purpose is being able to communicate better to people through this means. I mean, we live in a social media era, and in a world where communicating through social media, Instagram, YouTube, all those things are way more popular, and I have way more control over it than trying to get my message through in any other way these days. So this is the media that I choose to, and I want to get better at it. And as I was washing the dishes this morning, I was talking myself out of doing this uncomfortable thing, this sitting in front of a microphone and working my thoughts through, and all at the same time trying to be more efficient at speaking and finding the right words. And then I realized, like, if I put this off, this is the beginning of a bad habit of like, I'll put it off and maybe I'll skip it this week. I don't really have like anything. My thoughts were all over the place. Like it's like, how can I explain this? It's like, you know, you have a voice in your head that's trying to discourage you all the time. And the moment you give it a little crack, a little opening, it's like a shark. It's like blood for shark. And then the minute it gets a little whiff in the water, right away, boom, and fears like that. So if you just open the door just a little bit to start questioning something that you really don't want to do, then, I don't know, that voice, that evil starts whispering in your ear, you don't need to do that right now. And I recognize that now. That's a weakness in me, and I don't like it. I don't like where this was going, and I stopped it right away. I stopped the thought. I'm like, nope, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to sit down. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to just talk. Just go. I need to do it. I don't want to do it, but I need to do it. And I'm happy. I'm 8 minutes in right now, and I'm really happy I've done this, because this for me is an opportunity to get better at this. And it's also an opportunity to get better at life. And every single day, if I try to get better at something to improve myself, it's just a little nudge in the right direction. Yeah, I heard something this week, and it said a lot of people try to change the outside without working on the inside, without working on changing the inside. And that, it resonated with me. I heard that and I thought to myself, wait a minute. I remember going back, it was on something I had on my phone in my car, so I was able to go back. I said, I need to hear that again. Again, it said, people want to change what's on the outside without changing what's on the inside first. I think that's what it was. And it resonated with me because that's 100% true. Everybody wants a lot of things. They want to, I want to be this, I want to be that. They have these big dreams, and they're always working real hard at changing their outside, what's outside of their control and I guess outside of their control, really. But whatever's on the outside, and instead of realizing, if you just start working on fixing and changing what's inside, fixing your flaws, your shortcomings, and becoming a better version from the inside, at a certain point, the outside is gonna kind of, I don't want to say it's gonna take care of itself, but it'll be a lot easier because you got more tools in your toolbox so that you could use for whatever project or whatever thing or whatever dream you want to work at. But you got to work on the inside. I think it has to come from the inside. And you have to find your why. There has to be a why as well. Your why has to be strong. There has to be a reason for you to want to change. A lot of people, they don't change because they don't have a why. Their why is not strong enough. Their reason is not strong enough. Those are the people I worry about. I worry about them because I feel like at a certain point in your life, if you've gone for a long period of time not surrounded by people that love you and encourage you and are just there around you, a lot of people seem to be spending time by themselves as adults, and that worries me. It worries me because if you're not strong-minded, then it's just going to chip at you fear and self-doubt and all that stuff. And the why and the reason to become a better version of yourself, it's not there. And if you're not able to find it on your own within, that's a dark path a lot of people go down, and a lot of people become pessimist and negative. And I was there at a certain point in my life. I was blaming everything outside of my control and every other person or boss or whatever the case was. I didn't want to face the fact that I needed to work on who I was and become a better version of who I was in order for everything else to kind of fall together and improve in my life. But I wasn't willing to do that. I wasn't willing to be introspective about the things that I wasn't doing right, about the type of life that I was living. I was making bad choices, bad decisions, and I wasn't ready to change them because I hadn't figured out what my why, my reason wasn't enough. And then I had kids, and then that changed everything. If you're a parent, you'll understand. It changes you. It's no longer about you. It's about them, and they become important. They become your number one priority. And it's difficult and it's hard. No matter how many books you read about it, no matter how many people you listen to about parenting, nothing can prepare you. It's difficult because the bond and the love that you feel for this person, for this human, is indescribable to someone that doesn't have kids. I can't explain it, and I don't want to try. It's the only way you can understand how it feels is if you have kids. It's too hard. The love, the attachment, and it's scary sometimes. So, but one thing was for sure, when I became a parent, I knew the immediate changes needed to be done in my life. And they weren't apparent right away. They were only apparent when I realized that I was ill-equipped to raise a kid. But he was there. He was in my life. And I was like, if I keep stuck in this version of myself, I'm not going to do this little guy any favor. So you need to fucking start fixing yourself, buddy. You need to start figuring out something. That's how I started talking to myself. And that started a journey of immense self-reflection and self-improvement, and realizing that it can't be huge strides all at once. It can only be short. You have to chip away every single day. It's hard. You need to be disciplined, to be consistent. Everything has to be there. You have to learn to love the suck. That's how I see it. It's like, but I like it. You know, you do something that sucks for a long time. I mean, sucks meaning like it's hard, it's uncomfortable, all that stuff. But when you start seeing a payback, when you start seeing how it changes you and how it changes people around you because of the way you live, and it's not a suck anymore. Then it's then you realize how important it is to just keep going. Because at the beginning, when you start self-reflecting, you realize there's so much you need to dig in, and you can't start at everywhere. You need to pick what is the priority. What is my biggest fault? What is the thing that I do most that keeps me from becoming who I want to be? I guess I'm trying to, again. And you have to be able to put momentum behind that effort of becoming that better version. And the momentum can only be gained if you are consistent, if you are disciplined. And if you are not disciplined, then you need to find something in your life that will make you be disciplined. There's no trick, there's no shortcuts, there's no thing. You need to. Discipline is a tool of life that I've acquired and that I keep sharpening every day, but I use outside shit to sharpen my discipline. I do things I do not want to do to sharpen my discipline. Because if my discipline is on point, that means my consistency of effort is on point in other things. If you could do it in one thing, you can do it in other things. If I can be disciplined in going to the gym or going for a run every single day, I can be disciplined in sitting down and writing. I could be disciplined in sitting down and doing these videos. I could be disciplined with my nutrition. The tool is interchangeable through life. The tool of discipline. Find things that'll make you disciplined. You need patience. Find things that'll make you patient. Figure it out. There's so many things that could test your patience. Start making puzzles. I don't know. Do something. If your biggest flaw is you are impatient, and it needs to be fixed, then you need to figure out something that can make you gradually, every single day, little by little, it could be a habit that you form, something that makes you a bit more patient. If you need to be more kind, do something that is going to make you kind. Give out of your time. Go out, figure out something that'll give you an opportunity for you to be kind to other people. And it'll force you in that discomfort of being kind. Because for some, being kind is uncomfortable for some reason. Maybe it's because of their upbringing. It could be many reasons. But whatever it is, I figured out in my mid-20s that I needed discipline. And I needed to find something. And I didn't even go out to search. I was nudged in that direction. Because I don't remember thinking like this, like I am right now. I wasn't introspective. Something, someone, some force pushed me in a certain direction. I truly believe that now. There's no more coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. I believe in a force that decided, man, if you don't go in this direction, your life is going to go spiral out of control really, really fast, and you're going to be a waste to society. And I didn't want to be that. And my mind kind of I don't remember thinking about making the decisions. I just remember going I feel like I need to make this spontaneous decision, and this and that. One thing led to another, that led to another, that led to me living halfway across the country in a place that I didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, didn't have nothing but the clothes on my back and a pickup truck. And it forced me to put myself in an extremely uncomfortable situation and to fight my way out of that uncomfortable box. And I got a job, met some friends, met some people, found a place to live, and the rest is history. And then along that journey, something nudged me to walk in the Combat Arts Academy one day and to seek out martial arts training. And I believe it was because I needed to do something that was going to sharpen that tool of discipline. I needed to be disciplined. I needed to find something that was going to force me to become disciplined. Martial arts was that thing. It was that tool. It was that thing that I fell in love with, felt like I had a requirement for that, and I became extremely passionate and committed to it. But it forced me slowly through the years, and I wasn't always committed. I was still young. I was still made bad decisions, but it was always my compass. I came back to martial arts for many years after taking breaks or taking care of raising my kids or whatever responsibility was in my life. But I'm extremely grateful to walking into that gym on that day and figuring out and falling in love with martial arts. And I'm grateful that it started this path on sharpening this tool of discipline. And along the way, I figured out that I needed other things that could also help me in doing those things. And then I got to a point in my life where I am now, where now I think these things over and I realize, like, man, it's pretty impressive. It's also the perspective I choose to see it. I choose to see all those things were in my life to bring me to this point where I have those tools. I can choose to see, I can go back 20 years and then choose to see the same path that I just explained, how I see how life brought me to martial arts so that I could become more disciplined because my purpose required me to be extremely disciplined. I didn't know what my purpose was, but someone did. Something did. I choose to see it from that perspective. I could choose to see it just as a bunch of random things that I chose to do that because I just was impulsive and stupid and just random actions and events in my life just randomly happen. And here I am on December 7th, 2024, sitting here with all this knowledge and baggage along the way. I could choose to see it like that. I could choose to see it just as random, and it was just random, and there's no purpose, and there's no nothing. There's no force behind it. There's no nudge in the right direction. There's no higher power that might have whispered in my ear, take this path, not that path, go here, go there. And I just listened to that voice, that impulsive voice that was always like, dude, like, yeah, this is pretty fucked up that you want to quit this cozy ass job that you're really good at and just put everything you own in the back of your pickup truck and fucking hightail it out of here and move halfway across the country where you don't know anybody and have a job. Yeah, I think you should really do that. And for me to actually listen to that voice and impulsively follow a trail that led me to all that, like, yeah, maybe it's just a bunch of random events and I was just young and stupid making brash and spontaneous decisions. Yeah, you choose to see it like that and I wouldn't fault you for the world. But from my perspective, I choose to see it that differently. I choose to see that was the journey that helped me become who I am today, and that they all had a certain part, and there was all the reason behind all this. There was a reason for me walking into Combat Arts Academy, I don't know how many years ago, 2005, which started my journey in martial arts and gave me an opportunity to become extremely disciplined and so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the moment where I walked into Torture Chamber here in Montreal and started my pro wrestling journey. That also taught me a lot of discipline. That helped me sharpen my tool of discipline. Because my purpose required that I have extreme discipline, that I practice extreme accountability as much as I can. I choose to believe that. I choose to believe that my purpose is to change the world, or to at least spark the mind of the person that will change the world. I choose to live that way. I choose to see it from that perspective. And that, I believe, makes me want to be the absolute best version of myself, which in return helps me be the best possible version for everybody around me. And I think that makes the world a better place. And if I can do my part in making this world a better place without having to pick a team and being so quote unquote virtuous about it, I don't. I just want to work on myself, choose a perspective, choose a path, choose beliefs that force me to become a better version of myself. And by doing that, again, I think I'm just helping make this world a better place. And I think if more of us thought that way and more of us were a little bit more aware of that fact, again, I don't want to sit here like I'm right. That's how I feel. And I'm just trying to find my compass. I'm trying to find the road that makes me the absolutely best version of myself for my kids, my wife, and everybody around. And by working hard on myself, I'm able to explode and radiate, put my gift out there. I choose to see it like that. Now, if I sit here and I tell you everything about my beliefs and thoughts, I could sit here and tell you why I'm at the point in my life, why I've chosen to believe in a higher power, why I've decided to think certain way or believe in certain things. And I could be 100% honest with myself and telling everybody that right now. And some of you might ridiculize me, make fun of me for having those beliefs without ever thinking of why I had those beliefs in the first place. There might be a reason, there might be something behind you. I think an instinct that I really hate about people nowadays is that someone will tell you something, someone will tell you their beliefs, they'll share something intimate, how they feel, how they see the world. And instead of trying to figure out why they think like that, even if you believe they're wrong based on your perspective or based on facts, let's say, because certain things are just undeniably true. So when it comes to those things, it's difficult. But I'm talking about just on the outside of that. I feel like we're quick to judge on we're quick to make fun of sometimes or dismiss or cancel just based on what someone else believes in. We don't really realize or think of like, why is that person thinking like that? Why does she think that is true? Why is that person, we saw it, I mean, the perfect example of this is the election cycle we just went through in America, in the United States. I mean, like it's crazy. It's what we just went through, and it's a perfect example of that. A lot of people were ready to cancel whatever side you're on, and just instead of asking yourself, why does that person think like that? What makes someone get to the point of thinking, of supporting, or whatever it is, instead of being so quick to judge and laugh? And I stop myself from doing that. I try real hard, and I'm really aware of that. When I see something or I interact or I hear somebody talk and I don't really agree with what they have to say, I just, instead of going like, fuck, like, what the fuck, that, like, what is he talking about? No, I really try hard to go, okay, wait a minute. Why does that person think like that? Maybe there's something behind it. And right now, I'm trying to focus my life towards a compass that just forces me to be the absolutely best version of myself. And if I choose to include certain things in my life that force me to be that person, that better version, and I'll believe and I'll do that thing because I truly believe that it helps me be better. If you've made it this far, if you're still listening to this point, I greatly appreciate you coming along on this crazy journey of me working out my thoughts on this microphone. And again, the real goal of this is to get better at this because I think that I need this tool, that I think my purpose requires this tool of me being better at this. To everybody that's subscribed to the channel, I greatly appreciate your support is required and appreciated. The more followers I have, the more this becomes visible to the world, and it's greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so yet, if you haven't subscribed, again, check out the channel SVG TV on YouTube. Check it out. If you like what you see, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Be good, be great, be kind, but most importantly, be yourself. Much love and stay savage.